are going live. We're live. All right, brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, everybody. Hello, QGIS community. It's wonderful to see you all again. And yeah, I'm very excited about today's presentation. So today we have the new group of Kartoza interns, and they're going to be giving us their tutorial on the Bob Ross challenge. Now, I've done this challenge. In the background, you can see, there we go. My Bob Ross that I did 5 years ago when I was an intern, like everyone in the call who will be talking to us today. So I'm very excited to see the creativity that is unleashed using QGIS. I'd like to remind everyone who is watching, please to add your questions in the live chat. I will be asking the interns questions at the end of the session. They'd like to show everything before we do questions, so we will have a little question session at the end. But do pop into the chat, say hi, and let me know where you're tuning in from in the world. And that is my TED Talk for today. I'm going to be handing over to Lindy, who's going to take you through the Bob Ross tutorial. Over to you, Lindy.
Hi all. Let me share my screen quick. There we go.
Brilliant, I can see it.
Great stuff. Let me just get set up here. Hi. So hi and welcome all to QGIS Open Day. We are the Kartoza interns, Hefni, Tatu and Lindy. And over the last 2 weeks, we were tasked with recreating a Bob Ross painting in QGIS. Tatu?
Okay, so why Bob Ross? We chose Bob Ross because his style matches what we wanted to show in QGIS. So the creativity, the experimentation, and the freedom to play with tools to create something beautiful. Just like Bob Ross made art approachable for everyone, we want to show how QGIS can be used in fun and creative ways beyond traditional mapping. Next.
Apologies.
So the project goals. The goal of this project was to replicate the artistic essence of a Bob Ross painting using QGIS tools like vector layer, creation, styling, and digitization techniques. So who is Bob Ross? Bob Ross was an American painter and an art instructor. Is known for hosting The Joy of Painting, a popular instructional TV show that aired worldwide. He was born in Daytona Beach, Florida, and was raised in Orlando. He showed compassion for injured animals in his youth, despite leaving high school early and losing part of his left index finger while working as a carpenter. He became a beloved figure in art education. Okay, I'll be now passing over to Lindy to showcase her Bob Ross artwork.
So I chose to recreate Northern Lights by Bob Ross because I wanted to see if I could accurately capture the essence of the aurora. And I was also curious about how the rest of the painting would come together using primarily dark colors like black, gray, and blue, along with white.
Oh, it's stunning.
Thank you. The primary techniques I used for this recreation included digitizing features, which are then organized into layers with the additional type field and stacked accordingly. I also applied various symbology effects, such as the glow draw effect, random marker fill, and gradient fill to enhance the final composition. The first step was to create the background using a single rectangular polygon. I chose to omit a gradient fill for this layer to maintain a clean and simple look, preventing the recreation from appearing too busy. For the second step, I focused on recreating the northern lights by creating a line layer with the additional type attribute. I used 2 different line types, a baseline and light rays, as seen in the first image. To enhance their glowing effect and make them appear more natural, I applied the outer glow draw effect to both. For the third step, I created a polygon layer, again with the additional type attribute, to define different elements of the mountain. I use 4 layered features: the base, shadow, snow, and darker snow. To achieve the desired texture and depth, I styled the snow and darker snow using the random marker fill effect, while the base and shadow were styled with simple fill. For the fourth step, I created a polygon layer, again with the additional type attribute, to represent the background trees. As seen in the top image, I designed 3 distinct features and styled them using a gradient fill with black, gray, and dark blue respectively to create depth. To form the dense forest, I then copy and pasted the trees at random intervals at the foot of the mountain. For the fifth step, I created a polygon layer only containing a single polygon to represent the water. I styled it again using gradient fill, transitioning from midnight blue to light blue to mimic the reflection of the northern lights on the surface. For the middle ground trees, I created a polygon layer with the additional type attribute to represent, the middle ground trees. This layer consisted of 4 types, 2 tree variations and their respective snow layers. The trees were styled using simple fill in gray and dark, while the snow layers were given a gradient fill transitioning from ice blue to white or gray to enhance the realism and depth. For the 7th step, I created a polygon layer, again with the additional type attribute, to represent the middle ground bushes. As seen in the below image, I classified 4 distinct bush features into 2 types and then styled them using a gradient fill in blue and white and gray and black. These bushes were again then copied and pasted to form the banks of the lake. For the 8th step, I created a polygon layer, again with the additional type attribute, to represent the foreground trees. I used the same method as the middle ground trees, creating 3 tree types and their corresponding snow layers, ensuring consistency across the scene. For the 9th step, I created a polygon layer with a single bush feature type, styled using a gradient fill from ice blue to white, as seen in the top image. I then copy-pasted the bushes to form the foreground vegetation, adding depth and detail to the scene. For the 10th step, I created a polygon layer again with the additional type attribute to represent the different parts of the cabin. I used random marker fill for the roof of the snow, simple fill for the roof itself, and gradient fill for the walls and door. This adds texture and detail to each element of the cabin. For the 11th and final step, I created a polygon layer for the foreground snow. I used random marker fill for the snow to give it a texture, while the background terrain was styled with simple fill. The snow feature was carefully shaped to mimic a downward slope, adding realism to the landscape. Before exporting the final output, I revised the design and darkened some of the features further back in the scene. This adjustment helped draw the focus towards the cabin and elements in the foreground, enhancing the overall composition and depth of the image. One challenge I encountered was that the features in the same layer were not rendering in the correct order. To resolve this, I controlled the rendering order of the features by using the field ID attribute, ensuring they display in the intended sequence. I have a quick animation here to show you the process. To create this animation, I started by creating a date and time field for each layer. The field was then calculated to bring the layers and their respective types in batches using the type attribute. Using the expression shown on the right, with each layer's expression following the pattern of the previous one. I enabled dynamic temporal control for each layer, setting it to the newly created field. And then within the temporal controller, I set the animation range to the previously generated values. Finally, the frames were exported and used in a third-party GIF generator to create the final animation.
Thank you to DNT member Samueli for the temporal controller. He made that happen a couple of years ago, and it's the most awesome thing. Alrighty, let's head on to Hefni.
This sunset glow inspired by Bob Ross, so I recreated. This is a landscape showing a mountain, trees, lake, and beautiful sky. I have three key elements here: base layer, clothes, land, and water. Next. So the techniques I use base layers, layer hierarchy, stream digitizing, gradient fill, draw effect, outer glow, and source, and then detailing. Next. For the step one, I started by base layer. I started making a base layer to represent the sky. So this will set the background for the entire artwork. The goal here was to capture the gradient and natural feel of the sky during sunset. So the symbology here, I use a single symbol and the symbol layer type is gradient. I chose two colors because they are best for representing sunset color. As you can see here in this example, a linear gradient smoothly blends colors in a straight line, like from yellow to red. So it's often used to show gradual changes, like the colors of a sunset transitioning from warm yellow to deep red. Next. Step two, I make the clothes. To make clothes in QGIS here, I draw irregular shapes using the polygon tool. I use stream digitizing so it helps make the lines look more natural and not too rigid, which is great for this kind of elements. And I use a categorized symbol to make it easy applying a different colors or effect to each. And then I made it look soft and glow by using draw effect. As you can see here, I chose outer glow to make it look like real clothes. So it gives a blurry effect. So as you can see here that some clothes have solid colors and others even have outlines. I combined them to create a contrast and make it look dynamic. Next, the land and water. I created it like a mountains, trees, and lake. It's a quite simple here. Just use digitizing as well as if you are drawing up on paper using your pen. Um, After that, I just apply single symbol with simple fill, and for some feature, I use stroke effect. In this example, I edit a red color effect behind the mountains to simulate sunset lighting. Next. And the step four, to make it more detailed, I added extra layers like using lighter green colors for young leaves. This helps create contrast and makes the artwork look more dynamic. Additional words here that I create all layers in a Geo package and I always save the style as well so I can reuse it later or share with other. Next. So this is the final output. Next, I encounter a challenge here. So the hardest part was figuring out how to balance the colors and arrange the layers to make everything look natural. And I also struggled with the clothes because getting the right uh, right color text and texture was tricky, but overall, this is a very engaging exercise. Next, this is the animation showing the process from the start. Next, for the animation itself, is a very simple and quick. I use a temporal controller and I enter the expression to make a fake timestamps. As a side note, thanks to Tim for helping us, we finally made it. So for the expression, just using the ID of the feature and edit a date time column to some of the layers, and then I run the temporal controller. After that, I exported the frames and then I use external software to turn them into GIF.
Awesome. Before we go on into the conclusion, just from our live chat, we have a bunch of people from all over the world. So Anthony is saying hi from Peru. Valerio says hi from the UK, Cambridge. Jigme, hi Jigme, says hi from Bhutan. Camilla is tuning in from Scotland. And Nedik is coming in from Serbia. So really, thank you to the open source community for showing up for this one. This is always such a fun challenge. I already have a couple of questions, but I will keep them till the end. All right, sorry, over to you.
In conclusion, QGIS goes beyond its intended use. It's a platform for innovation and creativity. This project challenges you to push the boundaries of familiar tools and explore new possibilities. By embracing the artistic side of technology, you can create something truly unique and inspiring. That's why, as Bob Ross once said, it's the imperfections that make something beautiful. That's what makes it different and unique from everything else. This idea resonates with the creative process, reminding us that it's the subtle flaws and individual touches that truly set our work apart. Thank you all for joining our presentation.
Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Are you open to questions now? Are you going to show a bit of QGIS at all?
Yes.
In the meantime, I do have a couple of questions, and I do encourage everyone who is watching to ask your questions in the live chat. I will read them out. I do apologize if I mispronounce your name at any point. Doing my best. All right. Is this your Open QGIS project? This is awesome.
Yes.
All right. So, can I ask a question at this point? Are you happy with that?
Absolutely.
So, have you considered, just to economize a little bit, that you could actually have all of your polygons as one polygon layer, then use an attribute, calling it trees, mountain, etc. Then you could give each of them a categorized symbol, and then organize the symbols via symbol layers. So then at the end of the day, when you share this with anybody who would want to share it, you would have a geo package that has only one polygon, one line, one point layer. And inside of those, they're sort of cleverly categorized.
That is actually a very smart idea. And the reason I probably didn't do that is because I have limited experience with QGIS. So it seems a bit above my pay grade, but I'll definitely keep that in mind for the future.
Oh, not at all. It's just an idea. I mean, everyone works differently. That's the great thing about these kinds of software and the open source community is everyone has their own approach. So I think it's a great as a start, but think about how you could make it more efficient to share. Because a lot of these projects, the point is to be able to share between groups, etc. So you want to make it as easy as possible, I suppose.
Definitely something to keep in mind.
Alrighty. And then, so I know that your use of color here is very definitely more than nighttime colors, etc. I really like your artistic approach to that. That's fabulous. I also like your composition here, kind of that V shape, bringing your eye into the middle, which is obviously the focus. So that is lovely as well. You mentioned that you copied and pasted the sort of shrubbery.
Yes.
Did you just copy and paste the actual polygon? What happened there?
Yeah, so what I did was let me show you here on the side. I have my bushes here on the side, and then I literally, I probably have to put on the editing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I literally just Control C, Control V, and then move them, and then stack them on top of each other. And this is where the challenge came in, because when I was copy and pasting them, it threw off the rendering order. So that's why I had to go back and manually put in the field ID number.
Right. Anthony's already asking on the live chat if it's possible to share the QGIS project. I'll have a look at it, Anthony, and put it onto the wiki on GitHub. I'll chat with the interns too.
Yeah, actually, Amy, we can put them on the QGIS hub, the project sharing hub. On there.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, everyone. Which we're going to show in the next session with Lova a little bit in a little while, how the hub works. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's the one in the next hour.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. All right. Sorry to interrupt. I just had those few questions buzzing around in there. Lindy, carry on to show us what you wanted.
I think I covered mostly everything in the presentation. It's literally just the stacking, which is the similar approach to what painters use in stacking the layers. So I started from the back, added them to the front, and all in all, I had a great time of this because my mother is a graphic designer and I've been around similar things my whole life. So I was very proud to show this to her.
That's brilliant. Do you find, I see your snow, you've rendered random points. You've used the random point generator. Is that done on the fly as symbology, or have you actually created those points as part of the layer?
No, so as you can see here, it's a polygon that I use the random marker fill with. And while playing around with the different types of symbology, I thought, that would make quite interesting snow. And I like it because it shows a bit of the background through as well to create that paintbrush effect almost. It's the same that I used for the mountain, for the snow on the roof, and for the foreground snow.
How did you decide on your density? Did you just play around with it? Was it very intuitive, or did you actually have an idea that, this area I want more white, so it's got to have a higher density? What was your workflow?
I literally played around with it. I was sitting here and scrolling through the different seeds, reloading it in my map layout, and just seeing what looks the best to my eye.
Brilliant stuff. All right, so I'll open up the sorry, totally monopolized there for a second. I'll open up the session to any other questions from the rest of the room. Anyone else who is in the room who'd like to ask a few more notes on the Bob Ross project. Anybody in the room? I'm going to go a little bit more technical, and I know that Bob Ross is one of the first projects you do in the internship program, so perhaps not super relevant right now, but did you use a base map to start off with so that you had a bit of a coordinate reference system, etc., or did you just go straight into drawing on the project? What did you do just to start? Because obviously QGIS isn't a graphic design software. It's a mapping software. So how did you get going?
Shout out to Eli for this one.
I'm sorry he wasn't able to make this session. Hi, Eli.
When we had our session with him where he showed us how to start with this and how to get going, he recommended that we type in the world, because if you type in the coordinates, you type in world, it throws up the world map, just so the project could be within the bounds of the coordinate reference system. So I just loaded up the world layer and zoomed into a random spot and threw down my background and started making it.
Okay, fantastic. Because there may be some issues there if you don't start off at that sort of level. I think that world Easter egg, I don't know, Tim, when that came into QGIS, but I think we can thank you and the OG members of the community for that Easter egg.
Pleasure.
Alrighty, great stuff. And then Hefney, sorry, my dyslexic brain is having a moment. I really like the way that you styled your clouds. What made you think of using the categorized symbol with the different draw effects?
Okay, I think I need to share my screen here.
Go for it. If you haven't used Jitsi before, it's at the bottom of the screen. It's the third one from the right that looks like a little screen with an arrow in it.
Okay.
There we go. I can see
Can you
myself.
see my screen?
Yeah, it looks perfect.
Okay, so for the clothes itself, it's actually the most complicated part here because I have done a trial and error so much time. So yeah, I use a category symbol for this clothes, so I can apply a different color easily here.
Mm-hmm.
And oh wait, let me show you. Oh, sorry. Oh. Yeah, I have a several layer here. Okay, this is when I disabled some of the layers. So it starts with base layer here, and then this is this was not supposed to be a cloth, but it's actually just a gradient. So I um, I stack the layer like this, and then
You could
I
achieve
went.
that in your original gradient. So in your gradient, if you don't use the 2-color linear and you choose a color ramp, you could actually achieve this in one layer, this look here. So if you look at your renderers there, you see you've got a 2-color. If you use to color ramp and then specified that dark color at the top, then it's one polygon. Obviously not now, but
Oh,
that's what I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll keep that in mind, yeah, because I rarely use QGIS,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's I have
No,
a lot of trial and errors here.
no, I
It's
that's how you learn, right? You know, that's the great thing about
yeah,
this open
that's
source software. You can just go ahead and try it out, and there are many ways to do things.
yeah, correctly. So that's why this layer is look random. I
Hmm.
mean, cloud 3 and cloud 2, it's not in order. So because um, I uh, I try a lot of feature here, like I try how to classify, how to blend. For example, lighten screen, Dodge. I try also. It's
You
engaging
classified on the FID
exercise.
as well, because you could add
Sorry.
an attribute there. So I see that you classified on the FID of the polygon. So
Yeah.
you could
Because
add an attribute for yourself if you wanted to. You could say blue, purple, etc. So that later on, or if you share the project, you
probably
say,
next time.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it's
and that's really
that's
cool. And those ones where you have the kind of glowy edges, is that through use of the draw effects, or have you used a shape burst fill? Because there are two options there. One's a renderer, one's a draw effect.
sorry for the glow in the
So
clothes.
for
This
that,
one.
yeah, glowy
Oh,
effect.
let me let me find the layer because it has a lot of layer. Like,
Sorry you're on the spot, but I love this stuff, so I'm gonna check it out.
yeah. Yeah, I use this one, draw effects
Okay.
source. I keep the original layer, and then I add some outer glow, and also adding um, stroke color. I don't know. I just it's a bit intuitive work, so I don't have specific reason why I choose to at the outline, because I just feel, oh, that looks nice, so I add it.
Hmm. Well, I mean, if you're having a play around, of course, save this version of the project and open a copy. and have a bit of a play with the shape burst fill. I think that you can get a very similar effect with a little bit more control about how much like fuzziness you want around the cloud. You could actually give it a lot more fuzz with the shape burst fill, because you can tell it how much gradient you want. So try it out. It might come to nothing. But I think it'd be
yeah.
alrighty, great stuff. And then group for the interns, do you think this is a cool challenge to do when you're being introduced to QGIS? What did you enjoy it?
For me personally, it was definitely a quite encompassing learning experience, because you not only get to play around with the styles and the symbology, but it also helps you with the digitization and just composition in general, because we all like pretty maps. Who doesn't want a pretty map?
Well, particularly in cartography, having a handle on color theory is really important, so that your colors match, so that the map does look good. And also thinking about people that are maybe colorblind or do not have the same, visual capacity as everyone else, then, you really got to think about those colors and how everything works together. So I think having a bit of an artistic side for the map making is really important. Did you guys think about any of that, making these? I suppose it's very much more an artwork than a map.
Like I mentioned earlier, my mother is a graphic designer, so I've been around composition and colors most of my life. So this was definitely a very fun thing to do, and I can definitely comment on my and your, as you can see in the background, one specifically with the limited use of color, where I've only used blues, grays, blacks, a little bit of brown, but it's mostly a one-sided color wheel, and you really have to play with the contrast. And I can say the same for yours with the black and the gray and the white, and having to really think about how it looks as a bigger picture.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you. Yes, my old school 5 years old. I think, Tim, this is probably a blast from the past for you as well. I thought I'd have my Bob Ross as my background.
So nice. Yeah. We've had some fantastic ones over the years, and I hope the audience out there enjoys seeing something different being done with QGIS and just the everyday making maps. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And then I suppose last but not least, just because we don't know you and you're probably just a little bit getting into the open source community, particularly with QGIS, do you guys want to give us a bit of background of how you came into interning at Kartoza and what you'd like to contribute to the community, if anything? Maybe we can start with Lindy, then Hefni, then Tato.
So hi again, everyone. I'm Lindy. I don't really know why I picked GIS to go into. I've always been really into geography and found maps fascinating. And my mother was like, "Hey, do you want to maybe try doing GIS?" And I was like, "That sounds like a good idea." So that's what I went into, and I did a 3-year diploma with Esri, but as you know, those are paid products. So I finished that last year, and I was searching around for an internship, and Kartoza seemed like the place to be, gain a little bit more experience, especially when it comes to open source products, because not everyone has access to these fancy pants paid products. And so that's how I ended up here. I'm here to build experience, make some connections, and at the end of the day, come out of this a more well-rounded person with a bigger skill set.
Brilliant stuff. And I'm sure you're loving QGIS over proprietary. You have to say that on our forum.
but of course, it's actually it's a quite easy transition, because the bones are all similar. It's just the workflow and the buttons that are a bit different. But I must say, I have been quite impressed over the last few weeks with QGIS. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect something this good.
Well, the community works hard on it. I do think that, looking at the open source versus proprietary argument, etc., they're so close now. I find that with QGIS and I think most open source technologies, you need to think a little bit more. Like you need to use maybe the expression builder to get exactly what you want, but it means that you're getting exactly what you need. Like if you're, I don't know, trying to get some points to do what you need or transpose something or whatever, you can really have the ultimate control. So I think that's quite a nice thing. How was your introduction to the expression builder?
I briefly did in my last year some coding, but obviously this was more focused on ArcPy and the ArcGIS. So I do have some exposure to it, but coding definitely isn't my forte. I'm more a lover of spatial analysis and creating aesthetically pleasing maps.
Alrighty, and I see that someone in the comments with the mysterious name of F has asked why all the people in the call are Australians. So, Lindy, where are you actually coming from?
I'm from near Cape Town, but I've been told I have a worldly accent. I've gotten British, I've gotten Australian, I've gotten American a little bit, but yeah.
Brilliant.
There is
So,
just for what's the word? Correct statistics. There are 0 Australians in the call at the moment.
yes, there are 0 Australians. I think most of us are South Africans. Hefni, are you coming in from Indonesia?
Yes, I'm sitting in Indonesia.
Oh, that's brilliant. And pretty much similar questions to Lindy. How are you finding it?
Actually, I found out about Kartoza from my lecture. At that time, he was explaining about GIS, and then he mentioned Kartoza, and I started to curious, and I searched it up on the internet, and I found out, oh, this is Kartoza, so they are a contributor of QGIS. And then when I about to graduate, I applied for open application in Kartoza website, and I need to wait for like 1 year. Finally, this year I can join Kartoza, so I would like to say thank you to Kartoza for letting me to join this internship, because this is my first international internship, and yeah, I really grateful to be here. I met a lot of people from around the world, and yeah, I hope this can be my kickstart in my career in GIS, because I find that GIS really interesting field to explore, especially nowadays. So I think when I find out about open source, I think I will this I think I will decide it to be in my career journey. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to contribute to the open source. So
Brilliant stuff. Well, welcome to the QGIS community. And yeah, I would suggest if you are a new member, and this is to everyone who's watching, definitely get onto the different community platforms. There's of course YouTube, and we do have our webinars once a month, like this. But we have a Telegram channel. If you look in the wiki of this webinar, you can join there. There is also an official Facebook group. So definitely go and have a look there. There are lots of tips and tricks going on in that group from all around the world. There is also a Mastodon community that's very similar to Twitter or X or whatever the heck it's called now. But yeah, there's a really great Mastodon community as well. So go and have a look at that as well. So, it's a very, very vibrant, living community of people who are really passionate about open source mapping. Alrighty. Tato, same question to you. How do you find QGIS, open source technology, and what do you want to contribute to the community?
First of all, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Kartoza from South Africa, based in Johannesburg. So I studied environmental management,
Hey, me too.
and I completed. Yeah, I studied at Cape Peninsula University of Technology. So I did my diploma, completed that in 2022, and then did my BTech, completed that in 2023. So I majored in GIS for both. First, in 2022, we were exposed to ArcGIS, so we worked a lot with that.
Free
And
products.
then in my final year, in my final year, we started with QGIS. So I've worked with both, and I also did some sort of a short course with Esri last year. It was like a week, and I got a certificate in that. So I'm quite, I do have a bit of background and experience with working with GIS and the platforms. And yeah, like I really do enjoy working with QGIS, especially since it's open source and it's quite, I would say it's quite easy to use. And there's a lot of tutorials on it on the website that you can learn and play around and figure out how to do certain things. And yeah, and my experience here at Kartoza uh, has been good. I've enjoyed it so far, despite the challenging week that I had because my laptop has just been crashing down. Couldn't operate the QGIS application properly. But other than that, I think it's been a great experience so far, and I'm keen to learn more and start working with Python and trying to integrate that with QGIS because I'm also interested in coding. So yeah, overall it's been a good start, and I'm very happy to be here.
Ooh, I see the beginnings of a plugin maker, Tim. Alrighty. So thank you, everybody. That is fantastic. Thank you for showing all of your Bob Ross tutorials. If there's nothing else to show the community, I will bring the session to an end. Everyone happy? No other questions? Alrighty, brilliant stuff. So thank you, everybody, for joining our session today. I encourage the community to go and try out this Bob Ross challenge and share it on the community platforms. Put it on Mastodon, put it on Telegram. We will look at sharing the projects. I think Tim and the intern team have a look at that because Anthony, Nedick, everyone who is commenting in the live chat are very keen to see them and try them out. So if we can share those, that would be great. We will pop where they are, maybe on the Telegram channel.
Sounds good. Yeah, we can do that.
Great stuff. All right, thank you, everybody. The next session is in about an hour or so I encourage you to join that. We will be looking at the QGIS documentation and the new website, the latest updates to that, and that is, of course, with Salma and Lova. Thank you all for joining us, and I will see you then. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
We're good. Thank you. We're offline. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.